Hey guys, I'm Ashley Thomas. I'm going to be going over my internship with you guys. I did mine with Journeys DDA. Um, it's a company that works with special needs and children with developmental disabilities. Um, so a lot of you are probably asking like why Journeys? I'm a marriage and family major, and so it's not super therapeutic or going into counseling, and I thought the same thing, but actually I learned that this is like a perfect opportunity to learn therapeutic skills. Um, First of all, I chose Journeys because I do love working with children. I've always loved babysitting growing up, and um, I love my nieces and nephews, and just being around children really brightens my day. Um, and so I thought, wow, that's a plus. Um, I heard that they were very flexible with your hours. I know some of you might be doing um, classes on top of your internship, and it can get kind of stressful. So the last couple classes that I had before I graduated were in the middle of the day, so it really stunk. So they were really good at making sure that I could have enough hours each week um, and still be able to make my classes and do my schoolwork. My friend did her internship there, and she just talked so highly about it and how she was able to actually have a opportunity after. And I was like, wow, that's a big plus since I'll be here in Rexburg for a while my husband is still finishing schooling. And to be honest, like I feel like the marriage and family major, they're not so open with internships, and so I was really stressed out in finding one, and one that would go towards my major. And I know with Rexburg, it's kind of hard, kind of limited. So this internship actually fit my major criteria. Um, so I also, to get this interview and to get set up with them, I actually called them and I didn't ask for Mike because I didn't know how to do it. I kind of just did it on my own. But they were able to get me an interview, and I was able to interview with one of the people there. And then they took me over to Mike and Stephanie, and they interviewed me and got back to me, and we went from there. And they'll usually assign you if you're going to work with Idaho Falls, Rigby, or Rexburg, just depending on where they need people. And you also have the option of working with children and adults. And I did mine with children. Some of the responsibilities I had while I was there, we had a huge audit coming up. So when I first came in to my internship, the first day, I remember like not knowing anything, and they were like, "Oh, are you going to be a habilitative supporter?" And I was like, "What is that?" Like I had no idea. I didn't know any background. They didn't tell me anything. They just told me to come to the Rigby Center in January, like January what 8th or 9th, and that was my first day. And I ended up talking with my CS, my clinical supervisor, and just went from there. So some of the responsibilities, we had that, like I said, a big audit coming up, and it was kind of stressful. The office was very demanding at that time, and I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what the paperwork meant. We had to make sure everything was in order, all the paperwork that wasn't missing. Um, and I was really stressed out about it because I had no idea what a PIP was or just certain documents. Um, but that actually really did help me learn how to read those papers and read like what's going on with the child, what they struggle with, um, what needs to be filled out each time you're with a client. And so it was really helpful to actually learn how the company works. And I'm really grateful that I was able to experience the audit. I just felt like I was able to learn more in depth of what Journeys is and how they do all the behind the scenes stuff. Other things I did was definitely organizing files and filing paperwork. Um, there's always paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork, which doesn't sound fun, but I promise you it's not bad. Um, so I kind of just was able to organize the client's binders, look for things, fax papers, just your typical office duties. I also was able to shadow workers and their clients. So I would go with like a habilitative supporter or habilitative interventionist, which are they work with clients. Habilitative supporters are more of they support the goals that the habilitative interventionist um, put in plan for them out in the community. So I was able to work with them and see how they interacted with their clients in the community and what they kind of did with them to help them improve on their goals that they need to be working on. And then I was able to get certified as an HS and habilitative supporter and be able to use that as my internship too and work with clients, which was super fun, which goes to habilitative supports. Um, I was able to take clients and we'd go either to the park, um, to the library, the rec center, Brolms, and play games. Um, it's kind of hard in the winter too in Rigby because there's not much to do. Um, but it was still super fun, and um, it's just a good time to be out in the community interacting with peers that are your client's age. I also ran an open gym every Monday, and I was so nervous. They asked me to get activities together and games and stuff for the kids that are part of Journeys, and then just kids in the community to come every Monday for 3 hours a day and just hang out, play pool, play basketball. Just they have a ton of stuff there for you to do. And so I was able to come up with some games like balloon tennis and obstacle courses to help the children have fun. And it was very rewarding. I was super nervous just because I was like, I'm not qualified. But no, it was super fun and definitely something I would recommend bringing up when if you are able to work with the Rigby Center. And then other responsibilities were just anything like the CSs needed. If they needed um, someone to work with a client because one didn't show up, a worker didn't show up, I was able to take their client or just work on whatever they needed me to work on. It just depended on the day. How I benefited from Journeys. So going to school and being a wife and having an internship is a pretty full-time job, and I'm not gonna lie, it was sometimes super hard to have a positive attitude, especially after class and I'm tired and I wanna go home and eat, and just sit down and take a little nap or work on homework. But I had to force myself into a positive attitude every day that I went and knew that I would probably learn something new. And that really helped me just have a positive attitude throughout the day. And it was actually kind of nice because I always left Journeys at 6 when I was done, just with a better attitude and a lifted spirit. And I just realized I'm lucky to be able to be working with these children. Um, I also help them um, with creativity. I was able to come up with rec center ideas, organizational skills of how they could run the office a little bit more efficiently, since it is a little disorganized in the Rigby Center, unfortunately. Um, but it was really fun to be able to um, just create new ideas to help run smoother with the office, whether it's doing sensory items and boxes or laminating stuff for games or whatever. It was super fun, and I felt like I was able to contribute to creativity for them. Um, I also helped them by just offering extra time with them and being very easygoing and flexible. So I only worked 4 days a week, at least 4 to 4.5 hours a day. So some days I knew they were struggling with the audit, or they were behind on something, a certain task, and I offered to come in on my day off on a Friday, after one of my classes and just help out and help prepare them. And I know that employers really like that, and that's something that I felt like I helped with. And then I did like this quote, says, "Stay positive, work hard, make it happen." And I think that's just um, a great quote to live by. If we're not positive, especially if you're going to work and you're super just negative, it's not you're not gonna have a fun time, and the people that you're working with probably are going to like being around that. Um, so just make sure you have a positive attitude. I benefited personally, like I said, I learned to go into something with a positive attitude. Some days, like I said, did not want to go, but at the end of the day, I really loved it, and it was just because of that positive attitude I maintained throughout the day, and it helped brighten other people's day, especially if someone else is having an off day. I learned to like doing more behind the scenes work. So I know a lot of people don't like desk jobs and paperwork, but that's something I learned that I really do like doing the behind the scenes work for them and helping them run the actual program rather than like working with clients. And I still think it's super fun. But I did find that I really liked working in the office a lot more, and being around my clinical supervisor and the secretary that was in there. Like I said, I learned how to run a rec center, which was super fun. Um, Learning new games, learning to be creative with the games, keeping the children um, moving and keeping on them on task with whatever they were working on, and that was super fun. I also learned, it's kind of silly, how to play checkers. One of my clients taught me, and it's funny because I'm 22 years old and I've never knew how to play checkers until he taught me, and it was super fun and super rewarding. And those kids just love to play games and do anything outside. Um, and it's amazing how much you can learn from them and their sweet spirits. Um, I also learned that working with kids, like I said, is very rewarding. They just are the sweetest things. They might have their off days, but um, they're just so fun to work with, and they just brighten your day. Um, with my coursework and with connections with that, I'm taking a theories class, and so with the social exchange theory and symbolic interaction theory, I was able to kind of apply that because the social exchange theory is um, is balancing your benefits with your costs, and then that's your and gaining your reward or your maximum profit. And so I noticed if I limited my costs with whatever the situation was at Journeys, and had a lot of benefits, then I gained a better reward, whether it was through the rec center or whatever, or just being with the clients. And then symbolic interaction theory, I learned that we use certain symbols, whether it's hand gestures, smiles, um, body language, and that communicates who we are. And if I'm waving or smiling at someone, that's a symbolic interaction with the children or with whoever is in the office, and it can really change the attitude and the environment. I also learned that habilitative interventionists are like therapists too, so that's how I kind of connected my experience with Journeys to therapy, because when you're an HI, you're able to create PIPs, which is a program implementation plan, and it's just to they have certain goals that maybe they struggle with, whether it's maintaining personal space, or if they get super upset, taking a break and giving I feel statements, just depending on their goals. And you're working with your clients on those goals. So it's basically therapeutic techniques to help them. Like, do you need to take a break? And then you take a break if they're having a little behavior. I also learned through my juvenile delinquency class to get involved in the community. It's something that helps kids interact and stay out of trouble and just keep busy, because when you're not supervised, it can get, I mean, things happen. So I just thought that Journeys is a great way to have their children get involved in the community and be treated like a normal human being, because I think a lot of people, they have a stereotype. And then lastly, the BYUI learning model. It's just applying that, learning how to be prepared and to teach, and to ponder. I think those are super important, especially depending on if you're working with a client that day. Um, to get ready for your client, make sure you know their needs, their goals, what they can do, what they can't do, and being able to teach and learn from them. And then at the end of the day, ponder how that went. And I think BYUI learning model is just a great tool to use in anything. And then lastly, I recommend it. It can be very hard, especially, and you're gonna have your bad days. But if you do love working with children and hate sitting at a desk all day, I recommend this internship, um, because you're always out in the community with your children, and especially if you're doing this in the summer or fall, there's so much more to do outside, and you're able to go to the park and go to the lake and whatever. So if you are interested, I would just contact Journeys. I didn't receive a lot of help, like knowing what to do, how to contact them. So I just called their Rexpert site. And then for you guys, I would just ask for Mike. He's in charge of the internships, and just ask if you could schedule an interview and if they're hiring, looking for interns. And I listed the number below. So good luck, and I hope you find a great internship and what you're looking for. And I just want to say good luck.